Amelia Carter was only 23 when she landed her first job at the prestigious St. Luke's Private Hospital, a place where wealthy patients received the kind of care most people could only dream of. Yet for Amelia, the gleaming marble floors and the aroma of fresh lilies in the lobby did little to mask the pressure of working among the best nurses in the city, and on her very first day, she was assigned to care for a patient everyone else whispered about, Jonathan Reed, a reclusive billionaire who had been in a coma for over 6 months after a mysterious car accident. The rumors among the staff were endless. Some claimed he had been targeted by business rivals, others said it was a failed assassination attempt, and a few even whispered about a hidden fortune he had hidden away before losing consciousness. To Amelia, he was simply another human being in need of compassion, and when she first entered his private suite, a room larger than her entire apartment, with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the city skyline, she found him lying motionless, hooked to machines that beeped in a slow, steady rhythm, his face pale yet strangely dignified, his hair silvered but neatly trimmed, as if time itself had chosen to respect him. Her duties included monitoring his vitals, changing his bedding, and bathing him to prevent infections, a task other nurses often delegated to assistants because it felt pointless for someone who couldn't respond. But Amelia approached it with a quiet dedication that made her stand out, speaking softly to him as she worked, telling him about her day, the weather outside, and even little stories from her childhood, not because she thought he could hear, but because she believed kindness should never depend on an audience. Days turned into weeks, and while others treated him as little more than a medical case, Amelia began to feel an inexplicable bond with the silent man, noticing the way his eyebrows would twitch when she spoke about certain things, or how his fingers would curl slightly when she laughed. She started bringing in flowers from her small balcony garden to brighten the room, playing soft classical music that seemed to ease the atmosphere, and sometimes even reading to him from her favorite books, her voice filling the sterile air with warmth. One rainy evening, as the city outside blurred into shimmering streaks of light against the glass, Amelia was bathing him as usual, carefully wiping his arms and chest with warm water, when she felt something different. His hand twitched more strongly this time, his breathing shifted, and she thought she saw the faintest flicker beneath his closed eyelids. She froze, wondering if it was her imagination, but then his lips parted ever so slightly, as if he were trying to speak. "Mr. Reed, can you hear me?" she asked in a trembling voice, leaning closer, her heart pounding. There was no reply, only the steady beeping of the monitors, but the moment stayed in her mind. Long after her shift ended, the next morning, she returned to find the doctor dismissing it as a reflex, yet Amelia couldn't shake the feeling that he was still in there, fighting to come back. Her conviction grew stronger with each passing day, and she made it her mission to be there for him, whether anyone believed in his recovery or not. Then, one quiet afternoon, the miracle happened. As she was adjusting his pillow after a bath, Jonathan's eyes fluttered open, the deep gray of his irises startling against his pale skin, and he stared directly at her. Amelia gasped, nearly dropping the water basin, and rushed to call the doctor, but before she could, a hoarse whisper escaped his lips. "You stayed." Tears welled in her eyes as she clutched his hand, overwhelmed by the realization that he had been aware all along, trapped inside his own body, hearing her voice every single day. In the weeks that followed, Jonathan's recovery astonished the entire hospital. Physical therapy restored his strength, and while the medical team credited the quality of care, Jonathan insisted that it was Amelia's kindness that had pulled him back from the edge. The media swarmed the story of the billionaire and the young nurse, but behind the headlines was a deeper truth neither of them revealed immediately, that during those long months, in the solitude of his mind, Jonathan had come to cherish Amelia's voice as his lifeline, and now, free to speak, he wanted to repay her in ways she couldn't have imagined. One evening, after his final checkup, he invited her to a private dinner at his penthouse, thanking her formally before presenting her with an envelope. Inside was a letter offering her full sponsorship for her dream of opening a small community clinic in her hometown, a dream she had once mentioned casually while bathing him, thinking he would never hear. Overwhelmed, Amelia tried to refuse, but Jonathan smiled gently and said, "You gave me back my life, Amelia. Let me give you the chance to change others' lives too." From that day forward, the two remained close friends, their bond forged in the quietest moments of humanity, and though people speculated about romance, they both knew their story was about something even more profound, the miraculous power of compassion to awaken not just the body, but the soul. So dear viewers, if you believe in the power of kindness, in miracles that happen when least expected, and in the truth that every small act of care can ripple into something extraordinary, make sure to subscribe to this channel, because we have many more stories that will touch your heart and remind you that even in a world of wealth and power, the greatest riches are found in human connection.